Welcome. If we have one whole, like in this figure, okay, and we divided this one whole into tenths or 10 parts, like this figure. So now we have 10 parts, okay? If we shaded one part out of 10 parts, then we can represent it as a fraction equals, yes, 1/10, okay? This fraction can be written as a decimal in the form of 1/10, 0.1, and it is called also 1/10, but in the decimal form. If we shaded two parts out of 10 parts, then our fraction now equals 2/10. We want to write it as a decimal. Yes, equals 0.2, 2/10. If we shaded three parts out of 10 parts, then our fraction will be 3/10. And the fraction 3/10 equals what as a decimal? Yes, 0.3, 3/10. If we shaded 5 parts out of, yes, 10 parts, then our fraction will be, yes, 5/10. And 5/10 as a decimal, it will be 0.5, 5/10. Pay attention, 5/10 equals 1/2. So 5/10 is the same as 1/2. If we shaded If we shaded 9 parts out of 10 parts, then our fraction will be 9/10, and in the decimal form it will be 0.9, 9/10. Notice that in tenths, the decimal point is one place after one digit. Okay, if we divide one whole into 100 parts, like shown in this figure, we have 100 squares. Okay, pay attention. If we shaded this part out of 10 parts, okay, one row contains, yes, how many squares? Let's count them with our eyes now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each row contains what? 10 squares. So how many completely rows do we have? 1, 2. So now we have 10 plus 10 equals 20 squares. How many more down? Yes, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 10 more than 20. So our fraction now is what? Is 28 hundredths. Okay? 28 squares shaded out of what? 10 out of 100 square. So we have our fraction 28 hundredths. We can rename this fraction as a decimal, like 0.28. And do we read it also? Yes, 28 hundredths. Let's shade another part. Yes. How many completely rows do we have? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 completely rows. With what? With 70 squares. How many more down? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have now 5 squares more than 70. So the total shaded squares are what? Are 75 out of 100. So our fraction now equals, yes, 75 hundredths. We want to rename it now as a decimal. So it will be 0.75 or 75 hundredths. Okay. If we shaded this part, how many squares shaded now? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 squares shaded out of what? Out of 100. So our fraction now, it will be 600. Okay, write it as a fraction, 600. Equals in a decimal? Yes, 0.06. Pay attention, not 0.6. Why? Because hundreds, we should put the decimal place after 2 digits. So put 6, then 0, then put the decimal point in order to be after 2 digits. Decimals greater than 1. Okay, in this figure, we want to express the shaded area as both a mixed number and a decimal. We find in this figure that we have 2 squares. One completely shaded square and another square. The second square, we have just two shaded spaces out of 10 spaces. So the completely shaded square is what? Is one whole. So write 1. And the two shaded spaces out of 10 spaces, okay, we can represent it as a fraction. We in the form of what? 2 tenths. 2 tenths. So now we express as a mixed number, 1 whole and 2 tenths. Can we rewrite it as a decimal? Yes, we can write it. The whole is what? Is 1. At first write the whole number. The whole number is what? The whole number is 1. So write 1. So we wrote the whole number. Then put a decimal point and write a fraction as a decimal. 2 tenths. Can we write 2 tenths now? Yes, we know it. It will be 2. So we write it 1 and 2 tenths. 1 and 2 tenths. In this figure, we find what? We find that we have 3 squares. 2 completely shaded squares, and the third square we have not completely shaded square. Each completely shaded square is 1 whole. So how many holes do we have? We have 2 completely shaded squares. So we have 2. So the whole number is 2. Let's compute now the fraction. We know that each row of these rows consists of 10 squares. Okay, so let's count the number of shaded squares now. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and how many down? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 shaded square more than 70. So our fraction now is what? Is 74 out of 100. So can we write it as a fraction? Yes, the fraction part is what? Is 74 over 100, and we read it as 7400. Can we express now this shaded area as a mixed number? Yes, we can write it as a mixed number. Write the whole number. The whole number is what? Is 2. And write the fraction. The fraction is 74 hundredths. Okay, so let's read it now. Yes, our mixed number expressed this shaded area is 2 and 74 hundredths. Can we rewrite it as a decimal? Yes, it's so easy. The whole number is what? Is 2. Then put the decimal point and write the fraction 74 hundredths. Put 74. And do we read it? Yes, 2 and 74 hundredths. Now let's solve another question. Write each as a decimal. Okay, number 1, we have 5 and 3 tenths. It's a mixed number, and now we want to rename it as what? Yes, as a decimal. So 5 is the whole, so write 5. Then put the decimal point. 3 tenths, we have 1 digit, so after the decimal point we put 3, and we read it also. Yes, 5 and 3 tenths. Number 2, we have 8 and 7 tenths. Yes, the whole is what? Is 8. So write 8. And we want to rename the fraction as a decimal. So put the decimal point. 7 tenths. We have just one digit after the decimal point. So it will be 7 after the decimal. So we read it also as what? Yes, 8 and 7 tenths. Number 3, we have 9 and 21 hundredths as a fraction, sorry. So we want to rename it as a decimal now. The whole number is 9, write 9. Then put, yes, the decimal point. We have 21 hundredths. So 2 digits after the decimal. So write 21. And we read it 9 and 21 hundredths. Number 4. We have 10. Oh, it's not a mixed number. It's a whole number. So how can we rename it as a decimal? Write 10 and put the decimal point. There is no fraction, so put 0 and rate it 10. Okay. Number 5. We have 3 and 6 hundredths. What is whole now? Yes, the whole is 3. And we want to rename the fraction as a decimal. Put the decimal point. Pay attention. 6 hundredths. We have 2 digits after the decimal. So we want to write 6. So we will put 0, then 6. And read it as, yes, 3 and 6 hundredths. Decimals place value. If we have a decimal number like 951 and 24 hundredths, okay, this number consists of how many digits? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Consists of, yes, 5 digits. Okay, if we want to name the place of this digit, what is the name of this digit? Yes, ones. Yes, we know this name is ones. This digit name is ones. Okay, what about this, the second digit in the whole number? Yes, we know it. It's tens. And the third one in the whole number is what? Is hundreds. Okay, hundreds. The decimal fraction, we have 24 hundredths. The first digit after the decimal. Okay, what is the name of this digit? Yes, we know it. The name of this place is called, yes, it's called tenth. And what about the second digit after the decimal? Yes, hundredths. So now we have the whole number, ones, tens, hundreds. Okay, and the decimal fraction, tenths, hundredths. If we want to write the values of these digits, okay, we know the places names. Okay, what about the values? 1 in ones equals, the values what? Is 1. 5 in tens equals, yes, the value of 5 now equals 5? No, 5 in tens means, yes, 50. 9 in hundreds means what? The value of 9 in hundreds equals 900. Go to the decimal fraction now. 2 in tenths. What is the value of 2 in tenths? Yes, we know it, equals 2 tenths. And the value of 4 in hundredths equals, yes, equals 4 hundredths. And we know that how to write 4 hundredths, 0.04. So now we could write this number in another form, okay? It's called expand form. How can we write 951 and 24 hundredths in expand form? Yes, we can write it in expand form as follows. 900, okay? Plus what? Plus 50. Plus 1. Plus 1. Plus 2 tenths. Okay? Plus 4 hundredths. So now we know two forms of the decimal number. Okay, this form, the main form is called what? It's called standard form. It's called standard form. Okay, and the second form is called expand form, like 900 plus 50 plus 1 plus 2 tenths plus 400. And this form is called, yes, expand form. Write each decimal in expand form. Number 1, 1 and 8 tenths. 1 and 8 tenths. Now, start by whole number. Yes, we have 1 in 1s. 1 in 1's digit equals 1. So, in expand form, we can write it 1 in 1's equals 1 plus 8 in tenths equals 8 tenths. So, 8 tenths. So, the expanded form of 1 and 8 tenths equals 1 plus 8 tenths. Number 2, 91 and 15 hundredths. Start by the whole number. The largest digit is what? Is 9. Okay? The second digit in the whole number. Okay? 9. What is the place of 9? Is tens. So 9 is tens equals 90. Yes, we can write it 90. Plus 1 in 1s equals what? 1 in 1s equals 1 plus 1 in tenths. We write it 1 tenth plus 5 in hundredths equals, yes, 5 hundredths, 0.05. Number 3, 23 hundredths. Yes, look at the whole number. The whole number equals 0. So we don't have ones or tens or hundreds. So the whole number is 0 and we ignore 0. Then write this digit. This place is what? Is tenths. 2 in tenths equals, yes, 2 tenths. Plus 3 in hundredths equals 0.03. And we read it 300. 670 and 12 hundredths. Okay? Start with 6 in the whole. Okay, the largest digit. Okay, 6 in hundreds equals, yes, equals 600. 7 in tens equals, yes, 7 tens means 70 plus 0 in ones at any place equals 0. We don't write it. 1 in tenths. 1 in tenths means what? Yes, 1 tenth plus 2 in hundreds means 2 hundredths, 0.02. The last example in our lesson. Write each in standard form, then write each word name. Okay? Number 1. Now we have expanded form for a decimal number. Then we want to convert it to be standard form. To convert the expanded form to standard form, at first, the first step, put the decimal point. Put the decimal point. On the left, the first digit we write is what? Is ones. What is the number in ones now? Yes, the whole number of one digit. So 2 in ones. So in ones we put 2. The second digit after ones is what? Yes, is tens. What is the number refers to tens? Yes, we have 40 is a whole number of 2 digits. Okay, end with 0. So 40. So 40 means what in tens? Means 4 in tens. So the whole is 42. Okay, go to decimals now. Now we are looking for what? We are looking for the first digit after the decimal point is tenths. Is tenths? Yes, this is 7 hundredths and this is 9 tenths. So we have 9 in tenths. So put 9. Then hundredths. Where is hundredths? Yes, we have 7 hundredths. So in hundredths we put 7. So our decimal number now in standard form is 42 and 97 hundredths. Let's write it. Yes, 42. The decimal The decimal point means and 97 hundredths. 97 hundredths. Okay. Number 2. At first step we said what? Yes, put the decimal point to write the standard form. Now, where is ones? Yes, we have 5 in ones, so put 5. Where is tens? 70. 70 means what? 7 in tens. And do we have hundreds? Yes, we have 500, so we have 5 in 100. Okay, now let's write decimals of fractions. Okay, where is tenths? Yes, we have 2 tenths, so write 2 in tenths. What's after? Yes, we have hundredths. We have 6 in hundredths, so write 6. So our number now in standard form is what? Yes, is 575 and 26 hundredths. Let's write it. Yes, 500 575. The decimal means what? And 26 hundredths. 26 hundredths. Compare decimals. Okay, if we want to compare decimal numbers, like this example, we have 2 and 35 hundredths. The second decimal is 11 and 22 hundredths. If we want to compare, what is the greater now? Okay, at first, go to the whole. The first whole here is what? Is 2. And in the second decimal, the whole is what? Is 11. Okay, we can compare now. What is the greater? 11 or 2? Yes, 11 is greater than 2. So this decimal, 11 and 22 hundredths, is greater than 2 and 35 hundredths. Okay, then if we have in the two decimals, the two wholes are different, the decimal with greater whole is greater. Okay, the second example, we have 37 and 92 hundredths. The second decimal is 37 and 85 hundredths, and we want to compare. Okay, let's go to wholes. Whole in this decimal is what? Is 37, and the whole also in this decimal is 37, so they are equal. What could we do now? Yes, we can go to the next digit. What is the next digit here? Is 9. 9 in tenths. Okay, and here in tenths we have what? Yes, we have 8. So can we compare now? They are different. Yes, 9 is greater than 8. Okay, so 37 and 92 hundredths is greater than 37 and 85. Okay, so if we found that the two wholes are equal, are the same wholes, okay, we compare tenths. Okay, we compare now 4 and 42 hundredths with what? 4 and 45 hundredths. The first step, go to whole. What is whole in this decimal? The whole here is what? Yes, is 4. And in the second decimal, the whole is 4 also. So we can compare. We can't compare. Go to, yes, go to tenths. What is tenths here? 4. And what is tenths here? Yes, 4. So tenths also are equal, are the same. So also we can't compare. What could we do in this case? Yes, we can go to, yes, hundredths. We can compare hundredths. If we can't compare wholes and tenths, we go to what? Hundredths. What is hundredths in this decimal? Yes, the hundredths here is 2. And the hundredths here is what? Is 5. What is the greater now? 5 or 2? No, 5 is greater. So now we have the decimal number 4 and 45 hundredths is greater than 4 and 42 hundredths. Okay? The last idea, to compare now. We have 125 and 31 hundredths. We want to compare with what? 125 and 3 tenths. Okay? The first step, do what? Yes, compare wholes. What is whole in this decimal? 125. And the whole here Is the same. Okay, so 125, 125, they are equal. We can't compare. So go to what? Yes, go to tens. What is tens? 3. And tens here is what? Is 3 also. So they are equal. Do what now? Yes, go to hundreds. What is hundreds? 1. What is hundreds here? Nothing, mister. We don't have hundreds. What could we do now? Yes, put 0. Put 0. If we don't have hundreds, we can put 0. We said before that 3 tenths equals 30 hundredths, the same. So we can put 0 now. Okay, now can we compare? Yes, we can. What is the greater, 1 or 0? No, 1 is greater. So the decimal number 125 and 31 hundredths is greater than 125 and 30 hundredths. Now guys, let's solve some examples and compare the two decimals. Okay, number 1. We have in number 1 4 tenths and 9 tenths. Okay, the first step, go to what? Go to the whole number. The whole is what? The whole here is 0. And the whole in this decimal is 0. So they have the same wholes. So go to tenths. What is here in tenths? We have 4. Okay, and in tenths here we have what? 9. So what is the greater decimal now? 9 is greater than 4. So 9 tenths is greater than 4 tenths. Number 2. 22 hundredths and 18 hundredths. Go to wholes. The whole in this decimal is 0. And in the decimal, the whole is 0 also. So we can't compare wholes. Go to tenths. What is tenth in this decimal? Is 2. And in the second decimal, tenth is what? Yes, is 1. Can we compare now? Yes, tenths are different. So what is the decimal with greater tenth? Yes, 2 is greater than 1. So we can say now that 22 hundredths is greater than 18 hundredths. 2 and 7 tenths, 1 and 8 tenths. The whole in the first decimal is what? Is 2. Here is what? Yes, is what? Can we compare? Yes, they have different wholes. So what is the greater whole? 2. So this decimal number 2 and 7 tenths is greater than 1 and 8 tenths. So we can put greater than. Number 4. 3 and 5 tenths. 3 and 9 tenths. Now let's compare whole at first. Okay. Here whole is what? Yes, whole is 3. And here whole is what? Is 3 also. So we can't compare. Go to tenths. The tenths in the first decimal we have tenths is what? 5. And tenths in the second decimal is what? Is 9. So can we compare? Yes, 9 is greater than 5. So put 3 and 5 tenths is smaller than 3 and 9 tenths. What is whole in this decimal? Yes, 14. And what is whole in the second decimal is 1. Are they the same or different? They are different. So what is the greater now, 14 or 1? No, 14 is greater than 1. Now we can say that 14 and 9 tenths is greater than 1 and 49 hundredths. Order decimals. Okay. The first example, write in order from least to greatest. Okay. Number 1. 1 and 12 hundredths, 1 and 2 hundredths, 1 and 2 tenths. If we want to arrange a set of decimal numbers, like these 3 numbers, okay, at first, we said before, look at wholes. The first whole is what? Is 1. And the whole in the second number is also 1. Whole in the third number is also 1. So now we can determine what is the smallest number. Do what? Yes, go to tenth. Compare tenth. Okay, go to tenth. Tenth here is what? Is 1. And in the second decimal is 0. In the third decimal, tenth is 2. Can we determine what is the smallest now? 1 or 0 or 2? Yes, 0 is the smallest one. Smaller than 1 and smaller than 2. So now we can write the order from least to greatest as, yes, the first, the smallest one is what? Yes, 1 and 2 hundredths. What is after tenth in this number is 2. What is the smallest, 2 or 1? Yes, 1 is smaller than 2. So this decimal number is smaller than this decimal number. So the next number is 1 and 12 hundredths. Then we write, yes, 1 and 2 tenths. We have 13 and 3 tenths. 33 and 31 hundredths. 13 and 33 hundredths. 130. Okay, at first, look at wholes. Whole in the first number is what? 13. And in the second number is 33. In the third number, the whole is 13. And in the fourth number, the whole number is 130. We don't have decimal. We find that 130 is greater than 13, 33, and 13 again. So 130 is the greatest number. Okay? Leave it now and compare these three numbers. Okay, compare these three numbers. Now we have the first whole is 13, the second is 33, and the third is 13. Now we compare 33 is greater than, yes, 13. So now we compare the two smallest number at first. Now we have 13 and 13 in whole. What could we do? Yes, compare tenth. What is tenth in this number? Yes, tenth is 3. And in this number, tenth is what? Also 3. So compare hundredths. Put 0. Now hundredths here is what? Yes, is 0. And in this number, hundredths is 3. What is the smallest now? 0 or 3? 0 is smaller than 3. So 13 and 30 hundredths is smaller than 13 and 33 hundredths. So the order from least to greatest as 13 and 30 hundredths. What is next? Yes, 13 and 33 hundredths. Then write 33 and 31 hundredths, and the greatest one is what? Yes, is 130. Another example. Write in order from greatest to least. Greatest to least. Pay attention, okay? Number 1. We have a set of 3 numbers. 1 hundredth, 1 tenth, 11 hundredths. We want to arrange them in order from what? From greatest to least. At first, look at wholes. What is whole in the first number? Whole is 0. And in the second number, whole also is 0. And in the third, 0. So we can determine now what is the greatest one. We can determine now what is the greatest one. What could we do? Yes, compare tenths. Tenths in the first decimal is what? Is 0. And in the second decimal is 1. In the third decimal is 1. What is the greatest? 0 is the smallest. So compare these two numbers. We can't compare. They are equal in tenths. So what could we do? Yes, compare hundredths. Hundredths here is what? Yes, is 0. So 0 and hundredths, this number is what? Is 1. The greatest now. 1 or 0? Of course 1 is greater than 0. So this number is the greatest number of these 3 numbers. So now order, we arrange them from what? From greatest to least. So the greatest one is what? 11 hundredths. What is after? Yes, 10 hundredths. And the smallest one is 1 hundredth. Number 2. We have a set of 3 decimal numbers, and we want to arrange them in order from greatest to least. At first, yes, compare their wholes. The first whole is what? Yes, is 4. And in the second number whole is 4 also. And in the third whole is 4. We can't compare to determine what is the greatest one. Do what? Yes, compare tenths. Tenths in the first decimal is 0. And in the second decimal is 4. And tenth in the third decimal is 0. So we have tenths are 0, 4, 0. What is the greatest tenth? Yes, 4. So the number 440 is the greatest one. So the order, the greatest one is what? 4 and 40 hundredths. What else? Yes, compare these two numbers. We have here in tenths 0 and 0 in tenths in this number also. So compare, yes, compare hundredths. Hundredths here is what? Yes, is 4. Okay, and in this number, hundredths is what? Is 0. So 4 and 4 hundredths is greater than 4. So now, write 4 and 4 hundredths, then the smallest one, 4. Okay, the last example. Now we have a set of 4 decimal numbers, and we want to arrange them from greatest to least. At first, look at whole. Here, what is whole in this number? Whole is 44. And in this number, we have 4. In the third number, whole is 40. And 44 again. So, the two greater number are 44 and 40 hundredths. Can we compare them? No, we can't. They are equal in whole. So compare tenths. What is tenths here? Tenths is 0. Put 0. And in this number, tenths is 4. So can we compare? Yes, we can compare. 4 is greater than 0. So we arrange the two greatest number as, yes, order 44 and 40 hundredths, then 44. What is after? Compare these two numbers. We have whole in this number is 4, and the whole in this number is 40. What is the greatest? Yes, the greatest is 40. So we write 40 and 44 hundredths. Then the smallest one is what? 4 and 4 hundredths. Now we finished our lesson. Thank you. Goodbye.
يا رمضان محلى ايامك باركها المولى وادامك الجنة تعطر انسامك ومحلى صيامك محلى قيامك
يا رمضان محلى ايامك باركها المولى وادامك الجنة تعطر انسامك ومحلى صيامك محلى قيامك
صحينا يلا نتسحر وجمعنا على الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر
صحينا يلا نتسحر وجمعنا على الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر
وعلى تمرة من إيدك نفطر وعلى حبك وخيرك وسلامك
محلى صيامك محلى قيامك
المولى يعطر أنسامك